r/AskReddit. What is the most effective psychological trick you use? One that I picked up from a friend of mine whenever he was trying to pick out dinner with his GF. Rather than ask what do you want, and getting the typical I dunno anything answer and then having suggestions shot down. Start with what do you not want? Used it a few times in some of my relationships and it's the godsend question. IDK if this is an actual thing or not, or maybe just distractions. But when I do something annoying or bothersome to my husband and he goes quiet, I wait a few minutes and then I ask him a seemingly innocent question, usually on the subject of how certain parts of a car works, or something mechanical. This gets him talking about the car thing and he rambles for like 5 minutes and then bam, he's happy again and not quietly brooding. I'll never tell him I do that because I'm afraid it won't work anymore if he knows about it. It's foolproof though. It works every single time, no matter how bothered he is. Set expectations low and blow people's minds with my mediocrity. Listening to someone without giving advice or pushing for more information typically nets me more information than being pushy for it. When somebody shy is speaking, if you look at them and nod your head it encourages them to keep talking. I'm a professional poker player. When I am in a pot with one other player, I often try to make them laugh when they are thinking about what to do. If you can get them to laugh, it sets them in a mood where they are unlikely to bluff. I talk a lot in general. It's very common to make jokes at the table even in hands. Music. Putting headphones in and playing the music that I know I'd want to hear if I was in the mood that I want to be in shifts me over to that mentally, and really helps when I need to calm down or when I need to feel happier. In an argument, find something to agree on, then push your main point. When someone is trying to throw excuses or generally if they are getting a bit arsy about something, often the best way to handle it is to stare back with mild interest and contribute nothing to their monologue. If you don't give them anything to work with, they'll talk themselves into a corner and lose confidence in what they're saying. I learned this trick from an old director who used to control pretty much any meeting room scenario by being the most silent and impassive person in the room. I fondly remember the time someone asked him a ridiculous question and he just stared at him for about 15 seconds. 15 seconds is a long time to be stared at in a room full people. The guy wilted into his chair and nobody could work out if the director was angry or just quietly mulling it over. When you are standing in a group and somebody tells a joke or something funny happens, people tend to look towards the person they like the most while laughing. Whenever I bump into an acquaintance, meaning not friend, just a person I know, I of course say hi and the conversation goes like this. Me. Hey. How are you? Name. You look good. Them. Laugh. Thank you. I'm good. How are you? Me. I'm great. I'm on the way to wherever I am going to at the time and I tell them why too. So what are you doing here? Them. Go into same detail to tell me where they're going and why. Me. Alright. Well, I won't keep you up any longer than I have. Have a good day. Name. It leaves people feeling good. Takes away the awkwardness of cutting a convo short and it makes them want to leave. I work front desk in a medical office. Patients hate updating their paperwork. I used to say, look through the pages and make any changes. They would groan and reluctantly take the paperwork, or just complain about it. Now I say, all you have to do is make changes. Saying it that way makes them think it's not much to do and they take the clipboard without complaint. It's the little things that make life at my office easier. 9/10 times. Their hiccups will disappear. Having to summon a hiccup in order to demonstrate will trick your diaphragm into just not hiccuping. I've been able to twist it around on myself with some success as well, but it takes practice. You realize you have hiccups, then try to hiccup. Actively try to make yourself do another one. It'll stop. If you need to de-escalate someone and get them to communicate, asking questions about numbers, personal information. I work in emergency services. If someone is totally distraught and shut down, asking their phone number, address, SSN, birth date can pull them out of the emotional place and bring them back to a headspace where they can talk about what happened more easily. I often ask these questions even after I have the information just to de-escalate. Anyone here reading through the posts for the sake of using them in the future, but an hour later you forget everything you've just read? I work with a bunch of idiot lawyers and I use the phrase "you're correct" all the time. Even if it's one teeny tiny thing they're correct about. It makes them feel smart and they instantly soften. It also keeps them listening because they are hoping more flattery will come down the pike. Evil cackle. Thanking someone for a trait you want from them. Instead of telling a customer you're sorry for their wait, tell them thank you for your patience or understanding. Works wonders. My youngest, 4, got into the why phase a little while back. Read an article that said the best way to get them to stop was to ask them "I'm not sure. What do you think?" It is a godsend. They answer their own question. You provide some feedback, sounds good to me, and they immediately move on. Fucking awesome. When I ask someone a question and their first response is what, I just stare at them for a few seconds. And 99% of the time they answer my question without me having to repeat myself. I think it's just a subconscious reflex people have to ask what instead of answering what you've asked even when they've heard you clearly. Instead of arguing, I start off by agreeing and then state my point of view after addressing the other person's point. Always ends in a positive interaction. Edit. The idea is to show respect for what the other person thinks. Assuming that the person isn't a complete moron. They more than likely have a valid point. Rather than shutting the person down and telling them they're wrong, you listen to them. Then after hearing them out, you can bring up your own point of view. The goal is to have a respectful exchange of opinions rather than a flat-out argument where two people flat-out don't agree with each other and leave each other without learning anything from one another. When you need to find out a name egg for a lead, you say, "Oh, is John still managing up there?" They go, "No, it's Mark now." Works with anything. Just use a fake. Is that your focus outside? What? No, mine's the Ferrari. Smile at the shop worker, the binman, the postman, the random dog walker in the park, the person who nearly bumped into you on the street, the barista, your teacher, your mum and your dad. Smile at yourself in the mirror and give yourself a cheeky wink. Writing "smile" is making me smile. And I feel great now, so I'm gonna go and get a sandwich. Thanks for reading. Being completely calm, reserved and polite only pisses people off more, as you clearly don't understand the magnitude of the situation. If they are screaming and yelling, you need to come in loud but not attacking them. Agreeing with them to a point. "Oh, what the fuck is going on? I understand why you are fucking pissed. I would be pissed too. Yeah, that is some bullshit. The situation really sucks. Look, I get it. I would be angry as shit too, but us screaming is going to get anything done no matter how angry we are. I'm with you. I'd be just as upset. No doubt this is annoying, but these are our options." By agreeing with their anger, they are more open to listen to you. You then use words to describe their feelings, starting out at a 10. Fucking pissed and gradually bringing those descriptive words and your tone down to a 2 annoying. Works pretty much every time, but there might be a little up and down in the middle. Just follow the person's lead while always being a level below them. Whenever I know somebody is holding some truth from me, I'll look at them and stay silent. No nodding, no acknowledging, just looking. The silence usually brings out the truth or extra detail. If they squirm around a bit, you know there's something they have exaggerated, etc. Be direct and personal when you need things. Instead of asking if anyone has an EP pen, ask WHO has an EP pen. Instead of saying someone call 911, point to someone, say you in the blue jacket, what's your name? Tom. Okay Tom, go call 911 and come tell me when they are in the way. I can't remember. My wife's a psychologist and I lost all my superpowers of manipulation of time and space. Playing dumb gets you out of a lot, but not too dumb. Don't say it's okay when someone apologizes. Say something like, "Thank you for apologizing." If someone needs to apologize to you, then it was something that isn't okay. My mom teaches this to her kindergartners and it really does make a difference. Opens doors for growth and conversation too. "Thank you for apologizing. I don't like it when you hit me." Or whatever. Edit. This blew up. I'm almost 23 but tempted to watch Daniel Tiger. Mostly because he was the only puppet from the land of make-believe that didn't scare me. And thank you for the silver. Wow. I recently read that saying "you're right" instead of "I know" makes you look less like an asshole and doesn't diminish something someone else may have just found out. I think it's pretty effective at not letting you look like a total ass. Edit. Well, inbox boom. Thanks for all the replies. I'll try to answer a few of them if necessary. Don't be sad if I don't answer. I still like you. I teach English to university students. Many of them are in there just because they must and consider learning English a waste of their time. They are usually my worst students. When I give them feedback, I usually heavily stress what they can do already, and congratulate them on their improvement, even if minimal, before telling them the mistakes they had. I do this with all my students, but with those who are particularly dismissive I take extra care to let them know what they are doing right. Some people jumped from hating the language and being terrified of making mistakes to being some of my most proficient students. Overall, each of them showed considerable improvement and engagement in class, never letting that one go. It will also allow people to be promoted who aren't capable of doing the job. Pointed out by Rootfoot. Thank you. Good luck everyone. Edit. Added on last paragraph. Disclaimer. Edit. Thank you for the silvers and gold. First time. I am unsure of protocol. If you hand something to someone they will take it. It's a lot of fun. Edit. My first Reddit silver. Thanks. I currently manage around 240 people between 6 restaurants. It is often hard to get them to do what is needed. I have found saying I need your help is sufficient to get them on board. People want to feel needed and like they are making a difference. Expressing to them as much makes all the difference in the world. Saying hello to everybody you know, and with a smile. Often people who know each other from when they were in primary school or just from the block when they were young give each other an awkward smile instead of an happy good day. Just imagine, if someone walks into you twice a year and both times you smile and greet them enthusiastically, they will think of you as a nice person. So little effort for a person to find you friendly. It has to do with this park being designated wilderness, which is very different from national, state, local, county parks. Wilderness designation FAQs. List of reasons from park literature. Another edit. Thank you for the silver. Kind Redditor. I'm happy my suggestion was interesting and or helpful. If you need to remember something, think about it while doing something noticeably unusual. This will pair the memory with the something, so that when it is noticed later on it will trigger that particular memory. For example, I need to take out the garbage before going to bed. Put your pillow at the foot of your bed. Rather tell them to do something else. Instead of don't hit your sister, say, let's play a nice game with your sister. That way you don't put the idea into their mind that you don't want them doing it, which, in their childish manner, fuels the fire to do it more. Instead of asking do you have any questions, I ask what questions do you have. The first almost always results in silence, and the second lets people feel comfortable to ask questions. Edit. Thanks for the silver, kind stranger. I ask small favors and publicly thank people for their help. Recognize their contributions and genuinely appreciate them. Nobody ever fucking noticed that I also stopped coming in on Fridays about 18 months ago. When someone starts making fun of you, you make fun of yourself in a more clever way. If the person is doing it for attention, it wrestles the attention away from them if you're more funny than they are and gives them negative feedback towards making fun of you going forward. It doesn't always work because some people do it purely for self-enjoyment, but at least it will be clear pretty fast that the person is a piece of shit, which comes with its own social drawbacks. So in the end the person has the choice between getting outdrawn or looking like a bully. I pretend to be really bad at lying, so when I do have to lie it is super effective. Don't apologize. Thank them. When you're delivering food that's taken a while to cook, don't say sorry for the delay. Say thanks for your patience. Saying sorry focuses on your fault. Thanking focuses on their good quality. When someone is being rude during a conversation with me, I consistently flick my gaze toward their forehead or chin and watch the confidence seep from their face after about 10 seconds. Give kids 2 choices instead of letting them pick from whatever you control. Could be 2 points of time, like now or in 10 minutes. Or do you want the red or the blue shirt on? Things like that. Works wonderfully. They feel in control, but have absolutely no control. Can work with some adults too. When you're talking to someone, they will naturally fill silence. It's subconscious. If you want them to keep talking, keep your own mouth shut. This is useful if you're ever in a verbal altercation. I'm not sure this counts as a psychological trick. Maybe more of a mindset change. But I'll share anyways. I regularly get bored and play video games for hours. Or resort to wandering around the kitchen looking for food I wasn't even hungry for. Now, whenever I get bored, I try to force myself to do something productive. Whether that be washing a few dishes, playing with my cats, taking a shower, go for a walk. You get the drift. It's helped with my depression a bit, because I feel like I accomplished something rather than just sitting around boredom eating. This isn't something I've used, but I think it's worth sharing. Darren Brown said that once there was a muscly drunk guy that wanted to beat him up and said the classic "What are you looking at?" Darren replied with, "The wall outside my house is 4 feet tall." The idea is that it puts the aggravated person on the back foot and takes them out of that adrenaline-filled state. Anyways, he sat down and the guy started crying to him about his GF. He is Darren Brown though, so I wouldn't recommend this to everyone. Think of my future self. How will my future self feel in an hour or two if I skip my gym session? Will my future self be happy if I do this pile of dishes now, before bed? Or would he prefer to have to do it in the morning, before work? I have a 3-month deadline on this project. Will my future self appreciate my current self taking the first 3 or 4 weeks easy? Or will he be really pissed off? Essentially delayed gratification. Pretty much all the bad stuff gives us instant gratification, while all the good stuff has delayed gratification. I always try to remember that. If I have to wait to reap the rewards, then it's probably the best option. I used this technique at university where I couldn't stand the thought of having to answer questions in front of a group of people. So if you find yourself in a group situation where someone, a leader, tutor, manager etc., is asking questions that must be answered and you want to avoid being picked so that you don't have to talk, then here is my tip. If the person locks eyes on you as they ask the question, then just as they are about to get to the end of their question, you break eye contact and look towards another person in the room and hold it. Their attention is diverted to that other person just as the question ends and the person they are now looking at feels compelled to answer. If however the person starts asking the question while looking at someone else, then look at that other person and hold it so you can't get suckered. Use it sparingly, because if you do it enough on the same person, they will be onto you. To avoid workplace drama and be well liked is to just compliment people behind their back.